Supersonic.
Supersonic Youth. Compatible. Mridanga in the space shuttle. This is amazing. This is really Prithivite Achiyata Nagaradigram. Sarvatra Prachara Hoy. Say more now. All over the universe. You're going all over the universe now. Holy name will be spread. Okay, this is engines to power, turbines to speed. Very good. Come in. Yes, come in. Now you're in trouble. Okay. Say okay, let's chant some bhajan. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishta Bhutalesh Jaya Bhakti Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gora Chakra Shesha Shunyamari Pasha Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, Vishal is not here, good. Let's see. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 27, entitled Attack by Chandraveda on the City of King Puranjana. Text. What's the text? Huh? 5. Why did they put there something else? Oh. Okay. Okay, so before we start with the text 5, what did we discuss last time? Huh? Anybody remembering? Nobody's remembering anything. Oh, where's your notebook? Why? What's the point of keeping it there? Okay, hold on.
Like a man waste, like in Puranjana waste his time by sleeping on the arms of his wife.
Okay.
And he didn't realize the time.
Okay, King Puranjana, enamored by his wife, thinking that his wife is all in all in the universe. And the time passed very quickly and didn't even realize that. No? That's the nature of sensual enjoyment. I mean, that's the nature of spiritual life also. We said already that gopis, when they're with Krishna, they don't feel the influence of the time, no? We don't feel the influence of time. Even now you don't feel the influence of the time. Something really gross has to remind you about it, no? You feel influence of the time? You feel? What's your age now? Bishop, no? 21. So do you feel how the time passed? Something? No? So far? In your life? Not much. Yes, you don't feel. That's the point. You don't feel because you're only 21. Somebody who's a little older can feel it much more than those who are younger ones. No, I can tell you, I feel the passing of the time. Time is passing. It's just where did all these years go? And you can't reach out to them. There's nothing. Just some memories, faded memories that are left. That's it. Time is gone. Influence of the time. And you wasted time. If you don't utilize it for serving Krishna, you wasted all of those years. And especially the time will pass when you are enamored by sensual experience. I think I gave the example last time of King Pururava also, right? Pururava was with Urvashi. It spoke a little bit about that. They also didn't feel nobody. Then let's say when you're with a girlfriend, now do you feel the passing of the time? You feel the passing of the time. Whole night is gone just like that. No? Yes. Yes. I was like, who said? How do you know? This modern age. No, anyway. I don't. These days, anything, you know. It's like, but that's the fact. So that's how we become completely covered. Completely covered. I mean, these are two basic options you can get covered by. Anyway, we are covered. Either we are covered by Yoga Maya. That's what we said, the example of Krishna and the gopis. So they're covered. They don't feel the passing of the time. They feel like, either way, they feel either time has passed very quickly, or they feel that time is like a duration of the life of Lord Brahma, or one night, Rasa Lila night, both ways. So in that way, time either has or doesn't have an influence. Basically, with Krishna, it doesn't have an influence. Time is the servant. In Krishna Lila, time is the servant. Time adjusts itself so that Krishna can feel all these wonderful, loving, devotional exchanges, along of course, with the devotees. His devotees were participating in those pastimes. But in our case, time is the master, and we are the servants. We're the servants of the time. And we have to serve. We are serving the time, whether knowingly or unknowingly. We are serving the time. And time is passing away. And we are also not conscious of it, especially if we are in such kind of a sensual conditioning that we feel very excited, enamored, bewildered. And time is running. Time is running. And this is what we're going to see. King Puranjana is going to wake up at some point. Whew, where did all this time go? What happened? It's like, I don't know if you've ever... I guess we can give the analogy of a movie, no? You go to this PVR or something, or any other, you have some experience, and you're really glued to the subject or whatever is going on, no? And then the time is just gone, no? And then it's over. And then what? You go for another movie or what? No? You have to pay, you have to, and it's over. And then it's over, and then that's it. That's it. So like this, the life goes very quickly. And you think you're looking for some entertainment, you're looking for some substance, it's always looking, you never find it. It's always just search for some substance, some happiness really. But you never find it, and the time is gone. Time is gone. By the time you're 40, 50, your life is finished. Your best years are over. And then by that time only, maybe you can establish something financially or whatever, this and that you can maybe afford something more of the time, maybe, more of the enjoyment. But then your body, it's pretty much, it's over. It's not so suitable for sensual enjoyment. So that's how things happen. And we are not conscious of that time. We also, I think we gave example of lower planetary systems, right? Where the demons reside. There's no sun, and they have no conception of time. They just keep on enjoying, having fun, whatever they're doing, due to their good karma. They're also expending their good karma. And because they're not godly, they have no sense of any... Well, they do follow dharma, some kind of dharma, asuri varnasha. But it's not Daivi Varnasham. Krishna is not in the center. Their body and their enjoyment is in the center. And the time passes by very quickly. It's over. And it's like, so, and then their karma is over also. And then what? Then they have to come back to this planet. Same thing with demigods. You just keep on enjoying, and then somebody said, okay, that's it, it's over. No more. And then you're kicked out. You're kicked out of the party. Then what? No more party. Then you have to earn further credit. Like I said, you have to pay for another movie. How many movies can you watch? How many movies can you watch in a stretch? Anybody watch several movies in a stretch? Like one after the other. I remember when I was a kid. We had for a New Year, we had a television program. That's for a New Year. That whole night the movies will be shown. Different kinds of, action movies and this and that. And everybody was waiting for that. So that was in 80s. Anyway, yeah, you have no idea what was the technology then and nowadays and this. Later on, the video players came and the big tape cassettes, with the movies and stuff you could play. All these things came way later on. Then the discs came. Now everything is online. You have no experience of all these dances. But maybe, anyway, there's no point saying better because now it's even worse than ever and more accessible than ever. So we had an opportunity, you could kind of watch all these movies, like several movies, like for each maybe hour and a half, two and a half, whatever, I don't know. They were not longer than that. And then several of them. And you feel so dull and wiped out and useless and completely bewildered after watching all of those movies. Completely lost practically. You really didn't enjoy. You're thinking you're enjoying. And then you're tired also. So I just remember there was so much anticipation. So much anticipation of some happiness, enjoyment, this and that. But later on it was just frustration. Because you really feel that you're just filled with so much content, you're just filled with so many bits of information, and you feel exhausted after that. You feel exhausted, you just feel completely drained. So it doesn't give you really any satisfaction, it just makes your life worse. Where you can say, yes, I watched this movie, and then that's it. That's all that you can later testify for. So, like this, life, it's also, we're trying to find some happiness, we're trying to find satisfaction, we're doing so many things, we're exploring, we're endeavoring so much, we're hoping so much, and then there's no real content for it. Out of it. There's nothing really that you can hold that'll make you happy and satisfied. And you feel so drained and exhausted and frustrated. And that's it. And then it's over. Your life is finished. Your life is over. And then what's next? What's next? Well, next, if you have so many material desires and so many aspirations, then of course, then you have to take another body. If you deserved it, then you'll get another body. If you didn't, then you go to some lower species, lower forms of life. Until again you get a chance to get some human form. So like this, time is very powerful, and especially for those people who are considering sense enjoyment to be goal of life, and then they make all endeavors and all arrangements for such kind of enjoyment. And we see that those who have, let's say, material facility, like here the analogy discusses about kings have the most facility, right? They get so many queens and so many princesses and so many this and that. And they have a lot of opportunity for enjoyment. And this is what King Puranjana did. This is now discussion that's going on. He had always lying down with his head on the pillow of his wife's arms. People think, wow, that's a bliss, that's the most. This is the most important thing in life to achieve, It's like that. There was one what was his name? Rockefeller. Yeah, Rockefeller. Yeah. Do you know how he died?
Not sure.
Yeah, anyway, he died in the bed of his prostitute.
Oh.
And people would say, oh, Bliss, this is the best way to go, Cardinal Danilou, as this Frenchman, Cardinal Danilou, he didn't even make it to the bed. He died on the staircase. He was climbing it. He spoke to Prabhupada in this conversation. Yeah. So people think that's the best way to go. No, that's the ultimate fulfillment of your life. Yeah, it's the best way. If you act like a hog, then you become a hog. No? That's how it is. Because whatever it's your yam yam gapis maram balam tatum tate kalaivaram tam tam evaiti kontayan sadatat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever it's at the last moment, the strongest impression in your life, that's where that's what's gonna lead you to your next body. Oh, that's what's gonna lead you to your next body. So pretty heavy, yeah, but that's how it is. So therefore people think, yes, this is the most important. his head on the pillow, his wife's arms. In this way, he considered woman to be the ultimate life and soul. So most of the people nowadays are pretty much ingrained thinking that yes, this is the sex life, it's the goal of life. And any kind of arrangement in that direction, and in this way that you gain such a association, that's what's the purpose of life. So here the verse said that becoming thus overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, he could not understand the meaning of self-realization or the self of his self or of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the time passed very quickly. He lost his time, and then he was covered by ignorance. He was completely overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance. What does that mean? He considered himself or his body to be himself. So when this is the case, how can you realize the soul? It's impossible. As long as you identify with the body, how will you ever realize I'm the spirit soul? How will you ever realize the supreme super soul? It's impossible. As long as you're engrossed in the body. So that's why the first lesson in Bhagavad Gita is Krishna saying to Arjuna, you are not this body. You're the spirit soul, and all of your problems are because you're identifying with the body. That's it. Anybody has any problem here? Huh? Anybody has any problem? Really, you're all transcendental, liberated souls? Seriously. I mean, I can't believe it. Only Sumit is honest, huh? Sumit. How many? Few. That's good. I mean, good that you're honest, but don't reveal them. So, you know why you have a problem? What did I say now?
Because of body.
No. There's no problem with the body.
Because they are forgetting Krishna.
Huh?
Because they are forgetting Krishna.
That's okay. But why you're forgetting Krishna? Yes, you have problems because of body, but there's a worse problem than that.
We are not living in spirit.
That's the thing, in a way, yes. But a little more precisely, more relevantly. Yes. That's the point. You're thinking, you're identifying with the body. You're identifying with the body. The more you identify with the body, the more you face the problems, you'll feel those problems. You'll suffer those problems. Yeah. That's the greatest problem. If you want to know what the real problem is, that's the greatest problem. That's the greatest difficulty. You're identifying with the body. So because we identify with the body, we face so many different problems. So if we practice spiritual life, the identification with the body would be less. Is it better now? Yeah. So you won't feel those problems. You won't feel so many problems. Or you won't, even if there are problems, you won't feel them as such. You won't feel them. You'll be completely indifferent to them. Okay, so this is what we discussed basically, and then Srila Prabhupada explained that overly addiction to woman, where it leads to. It says in the modern, the whole, if that is the case, one's whole consciousness is covered, completely covered by lust. When you're covered by lust, what can you distinguish? Where is your intelligence? Your intelligence is completely destroyed, mad. In the modern age, the consciousness of people is too much covered by wine, woman, and flesh. How can you realize the soul? It's impossible. It's extremely difficult. And that's all because, again, we identify with the body and we want to enjoy the body, exposing it to all these different options. So that's why there's no question of self-realization. Okay. Any other points anybody wants to say? Anything from last discussion? Where is our Nehar? Usually makes. Where did he go now? It's heavy. Okay. Go ahead. Want to say something? 5 fast. Time is running. We have to start this new verse.
Yes. Prabhuji, you told that as one person loses his position, he is not respected. Similarly, if you lose this human form of life, then we are no more of use. We lose human form of life, then we miss the opportunity.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. Okay, so here, one more. But if it said like this, we should follow the association, or we should associate with Mahatmas. That means the great devotees. And then the path of liberation is open. That's the point. That's a very interesting thing. But if one becomes too attached to women, or to persons who are attached to women, this is what we discussed. Those people who are attached to women, they're even worse. And then how that affects your consciousness. So it said that he opens the Tamodvaram, the door to the darkest region of hellish life. So then you have hell even in this life, when you're so addicted and attached to your body and the body of others. That's a hellish life. That's hellish life even in this life. You don't have to go even further anywhere else. And you have hellish life even in this life. What? It's life of such an incredible entanglement. If life of such an incredible suffering. Because how much it takes to make a body attractive. How much it takes to, make a body attractive, to perfume the body, to clean the body, to dress the body, to fashion the body, to how much time and energy it takes to make a body which is mostly abominable, practically, really. But to make it very attractive, seductive, bewildering, how much time and energy it takes. And that's why people, when they start living together, they very shortly start noticing each other's faults and flaws, no? And then it's not easy to maintain that illusion. Very difficult. I know one boy, after 2 weeks, he got married, and after 2 weeks, then she asked for divorce. That was a pretty good one. In Pune, anyway, that was like 2 weeks. It didn't take much. Before, they were only on the phone and like meeting occasionally, this and that, and everything has such a big maya, big bewilderment, big illusion, big everything, this and that. Once they start living together, that illusion was very quickly dispelled. Very quickly. So that's why I believe that life of illusion, everything is great, everything is wonderful, so much dream world, wow, this, complete bewilderment. How can you realize your spirit soul then? It's impossible. It's impossible. You're so much engrossed in your body, and you're so much engrossed in someone else's body, and you don't understand how the time is passing. You have no idea how the time is flying by. That was the position of King Puranjana. Okay, quickly today, let's see what happened today. It's today's verse. Taivam Ramanasya Kama Kashmala Chetasaha Kshanadham Divarajendra Vyakti Krantam Navam Vayaha. Okay, translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Now it's going to be heavy. My dear King Prachinabarhishat. So Narada Muni is telling the story to King Prachinabarhishat about another king named Puranjana. So we already know this. Yeah, that was... So, but he's telling him the story of himself. But he's just using someone else's name. Okay, so he's saying, my dear King Prachinabarhishat, in this way King Puranjana, with his heart full of lust and sinful reaction, began to enjoy sex with his wife. And in this way his new life and youth expired in half a moment. Report. Okay. Srila Govindas Thakur has sung, Edana Yovana Putra Parijana Ihe Kiache Paratitide Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala Bajahum Haripadam Nitide. Is that Bengali?
Yes.
How was my pronunciation? In this verse, Srila Govindas actually says that there is no bliss in the enjoyment of youthful life. But we all think, yes, that's the greatest bliss. In a youth, a person becomes very lusty to enjoy all kinds of sense objects. The sense objects are form, taste, smell, touch, and sound. The modern scientific method or advancement of scientific civilization encourages the enjoyment of these five senses. Just like we said, who was that now recently? Where's Kani? She's doing radio station there. Okay. Like he told me that this Shilpa Shetty's husband has been arrested for making these illegal movies with underage girls, no, and stuff like that, no. So that makes it. Why is that? You may say, what's you may object. So why would someone have anything against that? Everybody did this voluntarily or something. Because if you're exposed to that, it makes you addicted, no? Addicted to pornography. And then somebody else can exploit you in this way because you're addicted, no? And you'll be seeking more and more of that. You'll be completely uncontrolled. And you'll pay anything to be exposed to it again. So that's an addiction. That's criminal. That's extremely criminal. No? So that's why, what is modern civilization? It makes you addicted to anything. It makes you addicted to drugs. It makes you addicted to any kind of intoxication. It makes you addicted, like here Prabhupada said, sounds, touch, smell, also perfumes, how much they'll charge for one little bottle or something, whatever that's like. But it makes you addicted. Makes you addicted to touch, makes you addicted to sight, definitely sound and touch and sight. It makes you addicted to anything and everything. And they exploit you. And they're such fools, you don't know how you're being exploited. You think, yes, that's what I want. No, that's what you don't want. You've been just impressed with something that you are seeking that fulfillment. So we are such unfortunate fools, actually, allowing ourselves to be exploited by the media and everything else, through different sounds and sights and everything else. And they're very expert. For one advertisement, they're ready to spend, in the West, it's like, I don't know, it's like, say thousands of dollars practically. And how much it comes, maybe 1 to 3 minutes or something. You can practically make, for one advertisement, you can make one whole movie or something. Advertisement is more important because it has more impact on you than even any movie or anything. So let's spend more money. Yeah. And what is that advertisement? To make you attracted to certain product, right? So they know the science. What is the catchy phrase this year, no? Or this month? Then they'll use this. Yes, catchy phrase. What's the catchy phrase? No, right? What was the catchy phrase just few days ago? Who can say? That's the point. Jai Shri Ram, no? That's spiritual. It was catchy phrase. Everybody was just Jai Shri Ram, no? Everybody was shouting. But that's a different thing. That's a good one. Huh? That was a catchy phrase. But then anyway, I won't ask what are material catchy phrases because we don't have to know this, neither remember that. But they know what is the catchy phrase. And you'll get attracted. And what is the color? What is the fashion? What is this? What is that? So many different kinds of things. And they'll create such an advertisement that will completely bewilder you, make you attracted to it. And you will want to be part of it, or you will want to enjoy that, whatever it is. So they know, that's the Prabhupada saying, that's the modern advancement of scientific civilization, encourages the enjoyment of these five senses. And we're completely bewildered by it, we're completely captured by it. See, the younger generation, hey Shiva, what are you doing now? Listen, younger generation is very pleased to see a beautiful form, to hear radio messages. Of course, radio now, that's somebody's listening to radio nowadays. Is that still going on to some extent? Radio messages of material news and sense gratificatory songs, to smell nice scents, nice flowers, and to touch the soft body or breasts of a young woman and gradually touch the sex organs. All of this is also very pleasing to the animals. Prabhupada is very straightforward and blunt, but it's just describing what is the conditioning of a young or youth. Therefore, in human society, there are restrictions in the enjoyment of these five sense objects. There are restrictions. If one does not follow, he becomes exactly like an animal. That's why human form, there are some restrictions. You can't be just unregulated, you can't be just unrestricted, because if you wish to be as such, then that's an animal life. And that's an animal life. So if you want to be unrestricted, then, like they have these nude beaches in the West, just absolute non-restriction. So again, you wanna act like a hog, then you become a hog. You become one. So if there are no restrictions, there are no principles to be followed, there are no rules, there are no. But then again, like last verse we said, well, how can you be God conscious? How can you be soul conscious? You're just conscious of your genitals. That's all. That's all. And what kind of life is this? It's a hellish life. It's a hellish existence. You're addicted. Yeah. And all you think about is your dirty, smelly genitals and how to engage them with some other ones like that. It's disgusting life. It's an animal. It's worse than animal life because, as we said also last time, we spoke on Saturday about brahmachari class. I said at least animals are, they're following certain urges, which are limited, whereas human form there's no limit. There's no limit. Like we said that anyway. I won't repeat the Saturday class. There's no limit to such kind of animalistic engagements. So again, you're so engrossed in the body, how will you ever realize your spiritual? And you won't even get this body, then you'll have the even lower types of body. You're in a line to become degraded. You're on path to degrade yourself more and more and more and more and more. You're just falling lower and lower and lower, covering your consciousness. You understand what is going on? The last cover is your consciousness. And you can't realize anything refined and finer than this. You just become covered and covered and covered and covered until you become an animal. Because that's your consciousness. Agasur, and I swallow all the bodies. So that's why if one allows this to happen, then where is the question of self-realization? So we see that the modern lifestyle, the modern media, they're extremely expert in exploiting, such a foolish conditions of any youth. And of course, in youth you get trained, and then once you're, even older or whatever, you'll still be lusty dog. You'll still be uncontrolled lusty dog, no? And then of course, then that kind of body follows. So it becomes exactly like an animal. That's pretty heavy here. It's like, so I said, thus in this verse, it's specifically stated, Kama Kashmala Chaitasa, the consciousness of King Puranjana was polluted by lusty desires and sinful activities. Previous verse, it is stated in consciousness, lie down on the very white, much in sex. So you see, of course, you can't be king at that time. You would be skillful, pretty educated, pretty cultural, so many things. You can't be just king. And this is not an ordinary king. That time the king was the emperor, not just the king, So he must have been very qualified. But once he indulged overly in the sex life, all of this is covered and lost. Yeah, that's what follows. That's what goes on. So this indicates that he indulged too much in sex. The words Navam Vaya are also significant in this verse. They indicate the period of youth from age 16 to 30. These 13 or 15 years of life are years in which one can very strongly enjoy the senses. And later on, you still want to enjoy the senses, but your senses don't cooperate. As I said, and once you hit 30, and it goes down like this. It goes down like this. You're calculating, you still have some time. Not best. When one comes to this age, he thinks that his life will go on and that he will simply continue enjoying his senses. But the time and tide wait for no man. That's our illusion. When you're young, you think, yes, life will be so great forever like this. And I can keep on seeking newer and newer enjoyments and newer opportunities, confirmed. And newer, so many different things. But that's the illusion of a material existence. Time and tide wait for no man. The span of youth expires. One who wastes by committing sinful is disappointed when the brief period of youth is over. Like sometimes you see elderly, elderly ladies or elderly men still there. They have that conditioning, they have that lust, they have everything, but their bodies are, they're not attractive. They don't have that passion anymore. They don't have that power anymore. And it's so disgusting when they're, you just see when they're so lusty. The material enjoyments of youth are especially pleasing to a person who has no spiritual training. Of course, you don't have a spiritual training, you will think the goal of life is just sex. If one is trained only according to the bodily conception of life, he simply leads a disappointed life because the bodily sense enjoyment finishes with 40 years or so. So that's the thing. If you think the goal of life is enjoying the senses, then that's what all your life will be directed towards, no? And that's what most of the people nowadays, that's what they think. Yeah, how do I eat nicely? How do I have sex nicely? How do I touch something nicely? How do I smell something nicely? How do I enjoy some nice Bollywood music? It's all of that. The whole life is just directed towards that, and they're ready to work hard like donkeys, whole day and week and year long, just to get facility to enjoy their senses in a material way. But the time and tide waits for no man. You see, so you're working hard the whole life and try to have some sensual enjoyments, and that's it. And your life is gone. It's gone just like this. Yeah. After 40 years, one simply leads a disillusion. He has no person. The expert occurs in a pleasure, which he took in lying down with his wife, expired very quickly. We said already there was another story of a king, Yayati, that's in 9th canto, no? I said he asked he became old-aged, and then he asked his sons, please give me your youth. I'm still not satisfied. I still want to enjoy my senses, no? And then 4 of his sons refused and said, we also have desires, we're just young, we're just, how can we give you, my dear father, how can we give you our youth? So then he cursed them. But then the youngest one, the 5th one, I think his name was Puru, then he gave his youth, he exchanged his youth. He said, okay. And then King Yayati was enjoying even that given period of time and power and youthfulness and whatever, and still he wasn't satisfied. Still he wasn't satisfied. And then he spoke very powerfully. He had a very powerful realization. So he said, this lust is just like fire. No matter how much fuel you pour on it, it will never satisfy it. It will never satisfy it. It just keeps on burning more and more and more. So lust can never be satisfied. You may think if I engage like this and like that and so many this, it will never satisfy the lust. Lust can never be satisfied. It just keeps on burning. And what it keeps burning you. It keeps burning your consciousness. It keeps burning your intellect. It keeps burning everything. And where is your hope of realizing that you're not a body? That you're a spirit soul? It's all in ashes. It's gone. It's hopeless. So that's what's the lust. It's horrible. So that's why King Yayati, finally realized. Then he returned whatever rest he used to his son, and he blessed him, gave him all the kingdom, everything else, whatever. But finally he realized there's no use of this sensual enjoyment. It never ends, it never satisfies, it never fulfills anything. It just consumes so much time and energy and wastes the human form, which is meant for self-realization. Atato Brahma Jidyasu. It's meant for human life, it's meant for self-realization. It's not meant for sex life. You want sex life, then be a pigeon. 10 hours, 10 times an hour, whatever. Be a hog, mother, daughter, sister, doesn't matter. Be a, what else, dog, jump in it, whatever. It doesn't, then you have some other bodies. It's human form of life is not meant for them. Human form of life is meant for self-realization. And if you don't use it for that, then yes, that's what Prabhupada said. Then he becomes exactly like an animal, and become a man. Get that facility. What you want, that's what you get. So you shouldn't waste the human form. So that's why. After 40 years, one simply leads a disillusioned life because he has no spiritual knowledge. For such a person, the expiration of youth occurs in half a moment. Thus, King Puranjana's pleasure, which he took in lying down with his wife, expired very quickly. Fast. Kama Kashmala Chaitasa also indicates that unrestricted sense enjoyment is not allowed in the human form of life by the laws of nature. If one enjoys his senses unrestrictedly, he leads a sinful life. The animals do not violate the laws of nature. For example, the sex impulse in the animals is very strong during certain months of the year. The lion is very powerful, he's a flesh eater, and it's very strong, but he enjoys sex only once a year. Similarly, according to religious injunction, a man is restricted to enjoy sex, how often? Who knows? Raise your hand. Lion once a year. Man, how often he can enjoy sex life? Who knows? Nobody knows? You really know or you're guessing? I don't want guessing. I want somebody who knows. Varun. Where is this now? Okay. How often man is allowed to enjoy sex life? You should know that.
Sorry.
The lion, by the laws of nature, he does it once a year. And the man, how often he can engage in sex life? Who said that?
Actually, I heard from a lecturer.
Did you raise your hand? Now you're suspended till at least minimum the rest of the class. It's 5 minutes now. You don't know. Gora Bolo. Once a month. Under which condition? That woman is not pregnant? Okay. For procreation only. That's the point. There's one story in Mahabharata. There was somebody who was pregnant and still somebody was trying forcefully, And the child was also in the womb complaining about it. And there was also, anyway, I won't tell the story now. It's in there in Mahabharata. You can read Mahabharata. It's an interesting story, though. It's very, very interesting story because later on that sage, that person became the sage. And he had some nice lila with his wife. He had very heavy realization of family existence. Very heavily. Anyway, I will tell that story some moment. Okay, so, yeah, because why once a month? Because that much food you eat to loss of the energy of that semen. That much food you have to eat. And then maybe you can be kind of even, so to say. Because so much energy and life force is wasted. That's why once a month, not less than that. Not more than that. Similarly, according to religious injunction, a man, it's restricted to enjoy sex only once a month after the menstrual period of the wife. And if the wife is pregnant, he's not allowed sex life at all. That is the law for human beings. A man is allowed to keep more than one wife because he can enjoy sex when wife is pregnant. Yes, you can have more wives if you can maintain it. Go ahead and wash your hand. You can have more wives if you can maintain them. No? Otherwise, if you can't maintain them, then you get heavy reactions. Okay. He may go to another wife who is not pregnant. These are the laws mentioned in Manu Samhita and other scriptures. Okay, a little faster now, time is running, the purpose is big. One last paragraph. These laws and scriptures are meant for human beings. As such, if one violates those laws, he becomes sinful. The conclusion is that unrestricted sense enjoyment means sinful activities. Illicit sex is sex that violates the laws governing the scriptures. When one violates the laws of scriptures or the Vedas, he commits sinful activities. One who is engaged in sinful activities cannot change his consciousness. Our real function is to change our consciousness from Kashmala, sinful consciousness, to Krishna, the Supreme Pure, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. Krishna is the Supreme Pure, and if we change our consciousness from material enjoyment to Krishna, we become purified. This is the process recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the process of Cetodarpana Marjanam, cleansing the mirror of the heart. So purity is the goal of life. Purity, freedom from lust, freedom from anger, freedom from envy, greed, madness, illusion, and finally, most important one, lust. Freedom, purity. Purity should be goal of life. So if you're pure, free from all these urges and pushes, that's what human life is meant for. To become like that, to be pure like that. And then you can realize, as we said, you can realize your real self. Like the mirror. Let's say mirror. Mirror is dusty, dirty. Can you see yourself? No. You have to clean. You want to see yourself, clean that lust. Clean that greed. Clean that envy, madness, exploitation, mode of exploitation. Clean that from your heart. That's what spiritual life is meant for. Then you can realize self. Otherwise you won't. Otherwise you'll be just becoming more and more covered. And we gave that analogy, right? We said consciousness of a human being is like that of the mirror, right? Consciousness of an animal is like what? Who remembers that? We spoke about it. Bhagavad Gita gives that analogy. Duspurena analena cha. What is it? Huh? Nobody remembers. Come on. Consciousness of animal it's covered like what? What is the analogy given? Fire covered by the smoke. And consciousness of a plant is covered by what? Rudresh. Huh? You give a wrong answer, then there's going to be trouble. Don't speculate. Embryo in the womb. That's the consciousness. You know something is there, but you have no perception of really what's going on there. No? No? It's covered. That's the consciousness. So covered consciousness. So covered consciousness. So if you want to cover our consciousness with lust, and you end up in those lower species, that's going to be your consciousness. So heavily restricted. So heavily covered. But if we want to realize ourselves, then we have to purify that existence that we lead in human form of life. Then we'll realize, then we'll clean the mirror of the heart, then we'll see what is our soul. Then we'll see really who we are, beyond this body, beyond this machine, beyond any other coverings or identities, false ones. So that's what spiritual life is meant for. So Cetodarpana Marjanam, cleansing the mirror of the heart. How? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, any questions? Fast. One question. Huh? I'm going immediately. I'm not going to stay today. I'm busy. You have questions? Ask me later. Huh? No questions, really. So this was absolutely clear, hopefully. Everything. Huh? Okay, yes.
Like, what are the practical things one person can do when at some moment he is hit by that?
What are the practical things that one can do when it's hit by what? By truck or what?
Like lust of
Huh?
lust that
Lust
rises at that
that rises. Scream the Maha Mantra. Chant the Maha Mantra. Start running on the Juhu beach or something.
He is saying that's also not safe. Running in the beach is not safe.
It's not safe by what? Early morning it's okay. Afternoon nobody's there. It's hot sun. A few dogs will run with you. Walking also helps, yeah. Just distract the mind from that nonsense and engage in positively somehow. Find positive engagement, meaning spiritual engagement. Really in a forceful way. That's why Maha Mantra scream out. How did Hanuman survive looking at each and every queen which was drunk and loose, looking for Sita? Hanuman jumped to Lanka, no? He had to find Sita, and then he went to Ravana's harem. How many hundreds and thousands of queens and girls were there? He had to see which one Sita. How did he know? And they were all sleeping. Just that's the worst thing for brahmachari, looking at the woman who is sleeping. They were all drunk and intoxicated, and everything loose completely. So what did poor Hanuman had to? He was just shouting, Ram, 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 Ram. He took shelter of the holy name. Yes.
He has 3 questions. The first one is how the lust was born.
How the lust was born? Because of selfishness. Second
is are we allowed to use the perfumes?
Depends what is your position. If you're with part of society to some extent, there are some oils and things like that, usually in that kind of, if you agree hasta, then in that sense, yes. If you try to be brahmachari, then no, because it will attract the opposite sex. And nowadays, as I usually point, most of the perfumes are not vegetarian. There's some animal ingredients, so better to avoid them. Okay, what's the third? Because then you will be also an illusion. You use the perfume, and yes, I smell like this or something. No, it's like, phew, how much, yeah.
So he's asking, like, are we getting attracted by Maya or our senses?
Yes, everything is illusion. Because it's not what it is. Even when you put perfume, it's not what it is. You're artificially, you're creating something that it's not natural. And it's artificial, that means it's illusion, it's temporary. It exists, but it's temporary. It's not the reality.
So Maya will be the right word.
Yes, it's illusion. Yeah, fast.
I have one question from the beginning.
Okay.
So you told that the problem is you identify with the body.
Okay, the problem is you identify with the body, correct? Then.
So is that we can artificially avoid that? Like I can artificially, let's say, avoid thinking we are body because it can't happen.
How can you artificially avoid thinking of your body? But you can anyway. Any attempt is good also. Any attempt not acting upon the urges of the body, it's good. But then you still have to have positive engagement. That I'm servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. You have to act like that also. Because it's not going to last. Anything, again, artificial, it's not going to last. It's going to be very temporary. And then you may even have a grosser form. Not a good idea.
Something which we all men faces in our youth, something which is called as nocturnal emission. So is it a sinful or not?
It depends. It can be, there are 2 types. One is when you think of a woman, then it's sinful. And when it happens due to certain influence of under sinful influence, under influence of, there is that, there's a very good book to read, it's called The Brain Gain by Dhanavir Goswami, we have it in library there. So he quotes certain medical experts who say that there are two types like that. So one is when we induce it by our contemplation, by our impressions. So that's when it's sinful, because you think of woman, you think about engaging in sex life, and then it triggers that loss of semen. And then another one is that it's not sinful, which is caused by certain pressure on the genitals for whatever reason, because of food, because of certain other things. And that doesn't release the semen, it releases that fluid, which is part of the semen. That one is not sinful. So there are two types. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So yeah, we can chant one.